Get up, my world is with my girls. Leave it on the dance floor.
Welcome back to Leave It on the Dance Floor. Abby Lee Miller here, and my heart is just all aflutter today because I have a very special guest from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a name that none of you know, that you should know. She was not on a TV show with little kids. Her mom and dad were not in there screaming at me. No, her name is Kirsten Bracken, and she is married now, and it's Kirsten Scott. So, yay!
Yay.
Hi.
Thank you for being here.
I'm so excited to be here.
So, Kirsten, let's start.
Let's start.
You were not 3.
I was not 3.
Your mother failed.
I,
She did not find me.
we found you too late.
Yes.
We found you too late. By the time we found Abby, I came into your dance studio and I was a fully formed teenager, and I was about to go into the college audition process for musical theater and about to graduate school. And so we were there for the tiniest little moment of my life.
But you were there to get your dancing better.
Yes.
Because
And
you
I
could
was-
sing and you could act.
But my dancer was, I was dancer first, but then once I found the acting and singing, I went full steam ahead on that.
Right.
And I was like,
well,
this is
when
what I want
you
to
have
do.
a voice like that, you should go full steam ahead. And we were kind of like the only game, and I don't want to say only game in town. There were tons of dance studios, but not producing working professional dancers.
Yes.
Like I was.
You were,
Right.
yeah.
I was pumping them out. Like,
Yes.
like Point Park.
Yes.
in CMU. Yeah. It was like this. So Kirsten came in, but I let you take the competition team classes because why not? I don't
Yeah.
understand studios out there if you're a dance teacher and you get kids that walk in. If they're of the level that they can take those classes, but they can't be on your team because they're involved in other activities or because they're driving an hour and a half or whatever, let them take the classes when they can get there. But see, in my studio, we tried not to. I don't know what your opinion is this.
Yeah.
We tried not to work on competition routines during class.
Yeah.
We tried to save that for Thursday nights or the weekends. Monday, Tuesday was kind of just technique.
Because I think that's what, with anything, especially the level that you're producing dancers and the level that you need to be at, if you're going to pursue a career in Broadway, for example, you need to be training at that level.
Right.
So you need to be in class every night, even if you're in the back, and even if you're not at the level, because I was not at the level of your competition dancers. I could not kick my face. Well, I could not kick my face. I could tell a story very well, but
Right.
I could not kick my face and maybe hold a split and do the flips that some of your girls could do in their sleep.
Right.
But you allowed me to take class, and it pushed me, and it got me to a point where I had the confidence to go into a room and not feel like I had to be a wallflower, which I don't understand. I will say that to your comment about the dance studios. I think every kid should be encouraged to take class. Just get in the room. Get in the room with these professionals that are teaching these master classes. Just get in the room and get that experience, because
Absolutely.
there's nothing that these kids just need that. And even if they fall on their face, they'll learn so much from that.
Right. And
Yeah.
I was tough.
You were, yeah.
So Kirsten, what was your first interaction with Abby? When you met Abby, what was your?
I liked her. I wasn't mean to her.
So-
I knew she had something special, so I liked her.
I remember the first thing I did was I went into a room and you're like, come with me, come with me. And then I was like, okay. And you're like, sing, just sing. And then I sang something, and then you're like, okay. And you grab some other people, and you're like, come. Listen to this girl sing. And I was like, oh. And I at that point, I have to say, my parents were not from this line of work. And when I started singing a lot, they were kind of like, is she good? Is she annoying? I can't really tell. And so
You're up singing, you had a voice lesson, or you're in your bedroom,
Yeah.
or you're whatever, and they're like,
like,
does she really have it, or doesn't
yeah,
she?
they had no idea. So for people to start to be like, oh, she's kind of good, it gave me the confidence that I think I needed, because I was just kind of I knew I loved it. I knew it was fun, but I had no idea if it was actually a worthwhile pursuit.
See, I'm telling you something, and a lot of people tell me this, that I inspired you, but that I saw you, I heard you, I looked at you, and I don't want to say pushed you, because people take that the wrong way, but I believed in you.
Yes.
I believed in you from the get-go. And there's kids that I teach on Zoom all over the world. I fly to Europe.
Yeah.
They show up in person. They're hugging and kissing each other. And I forgot about that on Zoom. They made friends.
Yeah.
And they're screaming and running across the room, hugging each other. but their parents say to me, she went to dancing school, she competed, da da da. It wasn't until you highlighted her on Zoom and said, everybody watch this kid do this trick, that they changed.
Yeah.
And it was like suddenly they had a path and they wanted to do this because Abby Lee Miller said they were good. Abby Lee Miller showed an interest in them.
You have created a platform for yourself where you are now like kind of like the standard for like you know good dance. You know what that is. And you have an eye for talent and you know what to say to people and you know exactly what needs to change or what needs to be fixed or what needs to be
Details.
You and you can zone in on it so quickly because of your background. So like you are such an incredible person to have in a room. So for a kid to get to dance in front of you is a gift of a lifetime. And then for you to get to give them feedback.
Right.
I mean, it must change their lives.
Well, that's what I do now all over the world. I travel. I go into the room with hundreds of kids. I teach and I do a little mock audition. And I cut and I cut and I cut. And do you tap? Raise your hand. Do you do tumble? Did you do gymnastics? Okay, so I get it down to maybe 5, 10, 30 kids, depending on the size.
Yeah.
And then I say, well, there's only one left. Then I say, well, there's only one thing left to do. Sing. And I hand the mic to my left, and they're in a line, and that's the face.
They all go, "Oh."
And
Yeah.
in England, Ireland, there's a lot of these stage schools where they go after school for an hour and a half, and it's 30 minutes voice, 30 minutes dance, 30 minutes acting. Just an after school program in their school.
That's so
and
great.
so they can sing.
Yeah.
And they know a song from a show. They know what show it's from. They know who sang it. So that's good. America,
No.
they sing Happy Birthday. They sing Twinkle Twinkle. They laugh and they giggle, and I cut them. And one kid will be able to sing.
Yeah.
So then I pull them downstage out of the line. And I say, okay, you're Lady Gaga or Taylor Swift or whatever.
Yeah.
You stand here. Then I pull two bookends and then two more and two more, right?
Yeah.
So I have 7 kids. And I say to the 6, congratulations, you made it. You're backup dancers. And they all go, like they were all excited. And then they went, and I said, this person in front of you is going to make more money, way more money, like this much. And you're going to make this much. But you're still successful. You still made it.
Yeah.
Your dance teacher's very proud of you.
Yes.
Everyone's going to come in your neighborhood. They're all going to come to the concert. They're going to see you standing behind somebody else that's getting paid more money. And and I look at the parents and I'm like, the costumes, the hair, the rhinestones, the earrings. You drive to these competitions, you spend all this money, and your kid doesn't take a voice lesson?
Yeah.
Come on, get it together.
Yeah.
So they do. They learn.
They learn very
They
quickly.
learn that, or very quickly, that their kid sucks and they shouldn't be in it at all. They learn that quickly too.
Leaving it all on the dance floor.
Leave it on the floor.
Leave it all on the floor.
Okay, so you walk in,
Oh
and
my
I said,
God.
listen to her sing.
Yeah.
Because your mother probably said she sings and acts
Yeah.
and she's in High School Musical or whatever.
And you're like, and my mom was like, I was about to do the college audition tour, which now has become so much more of a thing. I mean, even back then when I was doing it, it was so highly competitive, and now it's like tenfold. And it's, you go to these schools and you do exactly what you just said. You do an audition, and then you do monologues, you do songs, you do a dance call. And I just wanted to make sure that I was at the top of my game. And so my mom brought me in. I don't know how we found, I mean, you were like the studio of the, like in Pittsburgh, but I forget who recommended you. But
You weren't
we
that far.
No, we weren't far at all. We
I
were in
know,
Fox
that's
Chapel,
why
so, like,
wasn't she there? Mom, if
Mom.
you're listening to this podcast,
She will
why
be.
was she not 3 when she was there? Why was she not 3?
Because she had 4 kids, and she was like, you
Okay.
go here because it's closed. You go here because it's closed.
Okay.
This is 5 minutes
All
away.
right. I didn't know. You have a sister.
Yeah,
did-
I have an older sister, a younger sister, and a younger brother.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't know the boys.
Yes.
I didn't know about the boys.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So,
Yeah.
see,
There
if you
were-
would have
there
had
were
one,
a lot of us.
could have worried about her.
I mean, yes, I would be very different.
That's right. Only child. Yes.
So
But I remember that happening, and then you're like, great, sign you up, and we signed up for classes. And I remember one of the first classes I went to, I was like so like terrified because your girls were like they knew how to they were like hair, makeup, nails, cute leotard, cute leggings, and they all looked so great. And I came in and I was like, felt like I was the like, don't really know what I'm doing. And then I took this one class where we were doing stretches on a box to get like your split. And I remember that was my first introduction, and I was like, what did I get myself into? But then I adapted. And I was like, this is insane. But then I adapted, and then I started driving. Like it became part of my routine. Like I'd go to high school, and then I'd have my snack, and I'd change into my leotard, and I'd drive to Salzburg Road,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. And it became like part of my thing, and I'm so grateful for that experience. And then you did the
Are we
thing
getting
that,
into
like,
it?
yeah,
Are
I was
we-
like,
are
and
we
then
gonna
she
do
did
it?
the thing that like really changed the trajectory of my life was there was an open call for Hairspray, which like at the time was like my favorite musical. It just won the Tony Award. They were doing an open call for the tour of Hairspray, and
It wasn't open that
Was it
long
open?
before the Tonys.
No, it was. I think they opened in the spring, and the Tonys were
In June.
Yeah.
Yes. So it had just opened, well, just 3 months.
mm-hmm.
And I luckily saw it. I was here, not for the opening or anything, but I was here that first month, saw the show, knew what it was about, knew what they wanted, or what I was going to tell them they needed. Okay. All right. So this is a big story. This is Kirsten and I. This is our story. This is our life together. The main thing.
This is our story.
Yes.
And
So go
Abby,
ahead.
Abby was like, I'm taking some students, and you know, like, God bless my parents. They were like, sure. So she said, I'm gonna teach my full night of classes, and then we'll get in the car at like 11 o'clock at night, and we'll meet in this parking lot in Monroeville, and we'll get in my car and we'll drive to New York. We'll get there, you know, whatever. Like
Well, I had
5
been doing
a.m.
this for years with kids.
Oh, I didn't know that. See, I thought this was like a one in a. Oh, no. Okay, so this was part of your routine.
Are
okay.
you kidding me?
I-
Yes. So, like,
I wanted to think I was special, Abby. Like this was the only.
Yikes.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yikes. She was the only one I
I was
ever
the
drove
only-
to New York.
this was the
I didn't
only
drive
one.
Asmaret's butt back 20
No,
times.
oh my gosh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no. So was she? They were younger than you.
she
No,
was
older.
she was a little older, I think.
Older.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So she wasn't the only one.
It happened a lot. So you had this down. So tell me, this was your routine.
Yeah, this is my shtick. So
Yeah.
Bernie Telsey would call, or Johnson, but Telsey would call and say, we need, well, first the poor secretary, Sandy Powers, was like, New York's on the phone. They're Broadway casting people. I didn't want to come in. Like, she doesn't want to come in the room and interrupt me, but I think you should take the call. So I go out, and we need kids that look between 12 and 14 that do a left side aerial tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So then I'd go interrupt the ballet teacher, you know, and that didn't go well. And I said, hey, stop. Okay, who does a left side aerial? Raise your hand. I'm like, no, you're too little. No, you look too old. Okay, you guys, show me your left side aerial. Fine. All right, you four, go out to the desk, call, because
Yeah.
they don't have a cell phone. It's a
my
while
gosh, of
back.
course. It was
right?
yeah.
So then I said, call your parents, tell them you have to be in New York City tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
Oh my gosh.
And the first kid would come in. You know, it's Pittsburgh. You know what we were dealing with
Mm-hmm.
in my area. And kids that came from far away even.
Yeah.
And came in, and I can't go. I'm not allowed to miss school. Okay. Next kid comes in. My dad said, we just can't afford it. There's no way.
Yeah.
Our car won't make it, blah, blah, blah. Next kid, my mom can't take off work. We can't go. Next kid, my dad said, you're crazy. And who took off work? I did.
Yeah.
Who got a sub to teach my classes? I did. Who drove? I did. I paid for the gas, the McDonald's, the whatever.
Yeah.
That's how it went. So
So
your situation was a little different. You guys were older.
we were older. It
And
was
I
me
took-
and like Bethany and her sister. I forget her sister's name.
Did I
Flora?
take her too?
I feel like you took her little sister too.
Oh, I didn't
I think
know.
she was too young.
No, she was too young.
I think she just tagged along because
Oh, just
Bethany,
to come?
just
Okay.
to like come.
Yeah, so we get in the car at 11 o'clock at night.
Oh my gosh.
We meet where the turnpike is in Monroeville to get on the highway to go to New York, and it's 5 hours and 20 minutes to
Yeah.
Lincoln Tunnels.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
You know, I remember you, like Abby, the consummate professional, she took off classes, but you were working. I remember because I was in the front with you. I totally remember you putting in different CDs and you were trying to find competition solo songs. You were
Music.
like music, yeah. You were listening to
That's
constantly
how
listening to music.
I looked in the car was the way I would find it. Did I do it on the way home too?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, because we probably bought music at the Colony.
Yes, we went to. Oh my gosh, Colony. My heart breaks every time I walk through.
The Colony is a music store in LA. It's no longer. Or, I'm sorry, a music store here in New York City. It's no longer here, but you bought sheet music. So that's where the kids went to buy their sheet music. But also, they had this case that was locked up, and it had cabaret music and singers that produced their own CDs, and they sang in lounges and bars in New York City, or Broadway people that produced their own songs. And I got a lot of my music there.
Yeah.
One of the songs.
And
the
you would
whole world
listen
is
to
listening
it in the car?
And I would
on
play
the
it in
way?
the car.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
the co-pilot, whoever was the oldest or whatever, sat in the front.
Yeah.
You got the front seat. And then I'd say, no, go, no,
Yeah,
go,
we'd, like, skip.
Go. Like skip. Like I'd listen to a bar. Like,
I feel
one
like you were
line,
like-
and I'd go, no, one more line, no.
They give like their best, like not even 8-bar cut. You were like, you'd hear the intro and they'd be like, shall we? Nope, next. Okay. It was amazing. And
So
I was
this was the pre-podcast world where you were not listening to a podcast in the car, but
Oh,
you were
hell no.
listening to
I
competition
was
we were
music.
listening to CDs, compact discs,
Love.
if you will.
I had CDs.
Yeah.
They were
Yes.
expensive.
They were
Some of those
expensive.
CDs were $50
Wow.
back then because they were their
the two
own. There
CD
was like 10 of them. You know, they
Yeah.
produced them themselves,
Yes.
like a 2 CD set, and they were $50.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh my
And I'd
gosh.
find one song on there, maybe not.
Wow. So, Kirsten, would you
Yeah.
sleep in that car ride, or
No,
were-
that time I did not.
No.
Well,
I think I was too
wasn't
excited
really-
to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say you were probably like wired, like okay, like
Also-
were you also preparing for the audition in the
Yes.
car?
I mean, preparing for the audition, I also remember it's so funny the things that like I can't remember what I did yesterday, but this memory is like it's imprinted in my brain, like the specific details. I remember there was so much construction on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, so there were all those like really bright lights because they do the construction late at night.
Yes,
So
yes.
I remember that because I was co-piloting, I was. It was so bright, and it was like 2 lanes and like the median there. So it was, and I was like, we were doing
Stressful.
CDs. So it was, yeah. So it was, so no,
And
I did
and
not.
I'm
sleep.
taking other people's children in my hands, in
Yeah.
my car,
Yeah.
on the highway. And I always drove a big like Escalade or something because
Yeah.
the kids had to be safe. You know, people don't think about those things.
Mm.
Before a bunch of mothers were gonna yell at me and tell me what to do.
Yeah.
This was going on, and no moms went.
No, not a single.
They were working or busy or had other kids.
or had 3 kids at home. Like I still, like now that I have 2 kids, I'm like, my mom was just like, yeah, go for it. Like I'm sure she had like a moment of like, should I? Yes.
Am I letting her go with this
they-
woman who owns this?
But I remember we checked into the hotel at like 6 a.m. and then we got in line 2 hours later at like 8 a.m. and we had to stand in line.
This
because
is
it was an
line.
open call.
Open call for a big Broadway show tour, the first national
first
tour.
national
so it's going to
tour.
be equity. It's going to, right? Yeah,
So,
it's a big
it was
deal.
it was huge, and so everyone, and it was the hottest show on Broadway. It just opened, as you said, and so everyone wanted to get into the show, and it was one of those. It was such a feel good show. It was fun, and they needed so many different things.
And I think because of the movie, people knew what it was.
yeah, they knew what it was.
Right.
Yeah.
But Kirsten, we had to figure out what song she was going to sing at the
yes.
studio.
Yes.
I remember being in the den with you,
Oh my
rehearsing
gosh,
you.
yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes, because we were trying to figure out
and you're
how to
like,
be
what am I going to
60s.
sing? And I'm going to say, this is, and then you gave me stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm going to put you on the spot right now.
Yeah. Oh my
Right now.
gosh.
You ready? So I said, what do you have? Okay, now look at her. Look at her appearance. She is blonde. She is this little girl that was from a more affluent area in Pittsburgh. And here she is. Now, what should she sing? That was what we were going to figure out.
And I didn't know very much because I was young, and you know I listened to I knew that the singers that I liked to listen to, and I would kind of like try to emulate, and so we had to come up with a 60s song because it was Hairspray, and the only one that I knew that came to mind, I brought the sheet music, and I said, Abby, I don't know, could I do this? And I was like, what you want? Baby, I got it, what you need, you know I got it. All I'm asking is for a little respect when you get home, baby, when you get home, respect. And it turned out to be the song that I sang, which nowadays I probably wouldn't be able to get away with, A, but B, it kind of worked because with Hairspray, it was like these white kids that were trying to emulate what the black kids were doing.
Exactly.
And they were told that they couldn't. And then the black kids wanted to dance with the white kids, but they were told they couldn't.
Right.
So it was, in a weird way, it was like
The perfect song.
the perfect song. Yeah.
The perfect song, because this
Which I
skinny little white girl comes in and Aretha Franklin comes out. And that's what happened. So you're in line, we're in line, somebody get a hot dog, we're in line. And then people go in, they come out. We're watching them. They go in, they come out. They go in, they come out. These two go in, Bethany comes out. Kirsten never comes out.
Wow.
And I'm like, what the hell? Like, what? She doesn't come out. She doesn't come out. Now, I might have this wrong.
Yeah.
Somebody comes out
Yeah.
and says, are you with Kirsten?
Yeah.
Kirsten Bracken. That's her maiden name. Kirsten Bracken. And I said, no, Kirsten Bracken's with me. Let's figure that out right now. You probably never knew that. I was like, no, but Kirsten Bracken's with me. And they were like, it was a guy. And he said, we want to invite you to the show tonight.
That's right.
And
yeah.
here's ticket. I want to give you tickets to the show. And I said, well, I just saw it. So I'll let Bethany go.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
you
I
go.
went with Bethany.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he said she needs to see the show. And I said, okay. And then I think then finally you came out a good hour and a half later.
Yeah, because they taught me a little cut of Mama and Big Girl Now, the Amber part.
But wait, this is your first big audition in New York City for a Broadway tour.
Yes.
So give me your inside for all the people watching that don't know what that's like or dream of.
I was naive. I had that going for me. I had I'd never done this before, so I had this like wide-eyed like I'm here for whatever's thrown at me.
Right.
And my lack of experience really helped me because
You didn't know to be nervous.
I didn't know to be nervous.
Or freak out because you thought,
Yeah.
I'm just a kid from Pittsburgh. My dance teacher brought me. This is like just fun. We're just having
exactly.
fun. Right.
I literally went thinking, you know what? If I can go to college being like, you know what? I auditioned for a Broadway show once and I had that experience. I never ever in a million years thought that I would actually, maybe book it. It was there. I was there for the experience.
Right.
And so because of that, I think it just allowed me to be open and free and almost like very much like a improv perspective, like a yes and. I was like, yeah, great, I'm there. Okay, sure.
And a sponge.
And it was
when they give you a correction, important, and I say this all the time, when you get a correction, you have to apply it and move on. It's okay to make mistakes, but make a different one.
Yeah.
And so whatever they told her to do, she just did it.
Yeah.
You didn't overthink it. Right.
Absolutely. And being
Okay, so you're in the room.
I'm in the room, and I remember it was the assistant. I just happened to get in the room with Craig Burns, who was one of the big guys at Telsey. I was very, very lucky that I just happened to get into the room with him because I think there were like 3 different rooms going, and they just, whoever was up next, they're like, okay, you go in room number 1, you go in room number 2, and I just happened to get in his room. He took a liking to me. He saw something in me for the show, and the person behind the piano was the associate musical director at that time.
Of
So
the
I just
show.
of the
Okay.
show. So I just happened to get like the 2 heavy hitters. I got really lucky.
You got in the right room.
I got in the right room.
Door number.
I know.
whatever.
Door number 2 was like
Yeah,
the
okay.
lucky door.
Okay.
I won I hit the jackpot with that. So because of that, Craig saw that and he was like, okay, let's just teach her the music right now. And then when they saw that I could hit the watch me fly or whatever Amber had to do, they're
Right.
like, okay, so she can hit the note that like, it's that thing like when they are looking for an alphabet, they're like, can you do the great, you move on to the next level.
Right.
Because you have to hit that thing that like,
Yeah.
20% of the girls that walk in the room can do. So I did that, and then they gave me some sides, and then because I, again, knew nothing, I was like, great, I'm just going to do a cold read, and I went with my first instincts. My first instincts happened to be correct with this character because she was obnoxious, and
Well, because I also told her
Yeah.
what it was about.
Yes, she was-
Because I
she
had just seen it. I mean, I just saw the show. So I could say, okay, this is the girl, and she hooks up and she likes this guy.
Yeah.
And he's, yeah. And so, yeah.
So Abby, without Abby's Cliff's notes, I probably would have been completely lost.
No,
but
no,
no, it's so
you
true.
were fine.
I had that in the back of my mind. I was like, great, okay, and
But you knew from the song, too,
Yeah.
what it was about.
and I'd listened to the soundtrack a lot.
Okay.
So I kind of I knew that, and also
See,
I mean
she does her homework.
I.
Even without me
Yeah.
or her mom and dad, she wanted it. She said, we're going to go to Hairspray. She listened to it over and over the soundtrack.
Yeah.
And that's what kids don't do. They don't do their
You know what?
research.
It's so interesting. But I was also just such a sponge, and I was such a Broadway nerd. Like I wanted to emulate those voices, and so I also when I listened to soundtracks, I would try to like imitate how the girls sang, and that's what I feel like also helped me to kind of develop my belt because I listened to how they so they navigated that by going like da 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 and they used that, and so I just by imitation really helped me to kind of develop my voice. And also for that specific audition, I knew exactly what the soundtrack sounded like. So I was like, oh, I could just do it like this. And I wasn't nervous about it because I didn't know it was a high note, because I would listen to it on the soundtrack and I was like, oh, I sing along with this all the time. It's fine.
Right.
Which was,
So
yeah.
everyone always asks me what kind of dancewear I recommend students have on in class. And I want you to wear something that complements your body and your lines and doesn't become hindering or bothersome when you're working on leaps and turns. Nothing should be flying around. I like bright colors or pastels, something that makes you stand out. Although if you're doing choreography and you're working on cleaning a number, everybody should have the same color on. Whether everyone's in red or everyone's in black, just be uniform, because then the routine is going to look better and both you and your teacher can get out of there sooner. That's for sure. The ALDC online store has new merchandise coming. You are going to love the new bra tops and the leggings back in stock for the holidays. Will be ALDC jackets. Everybody keeps asking for those jackets. Little ones want them, teenagers want them, even super fans want them. So you ALDC elites, if you want a jacket, they will be in to order for the holidays. Now, do you have your warm-up socks, dance bags, hats, accessories? We have all that jazz too. We have hoodies and other fabulous logo wear, t-shirts and crop tops and sweatpants, you name it. We have it for the non-dancers out there too. Just a reminder, my logo wear is the only official logo wear on the market. You can only buy it from my store, not from any imposters with, bad design and bad quality. www.abbyleedancecompany.com. I'm offering you 15% off your first purchase by using the code ALDCELITE. That's ALDC Elite in capital letters at checkout. And yes, of course, we do ship internationally. Stop in to the ALDC LA Boutique Studio if you're in LA. If you're heading down to the beach in Santa Monica, stop by 11316 Santa Monica Boulevard and visit. You never know who might be there teaching. That's right. Come on in, say hello, get a picture taken with me, and just don't interrupt the class, or you will be on the bottom of the pyramid. So now you're in the room,
Yeah.
the lucky room, door number 2.
The lucky room.
And you get in there, and then I don't know really what happened, but a guy comes out, probably same guy, and he finds me. We're outside now sunbathing.
Yeah.
The sun is beating down.
Some things
It's-
never change.
Some things never change.
Some
And
things
I'm
never change
laying
with
out
Abby.
in the sun. I have one kid in the room that I'm freaking out for, like thinking, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, this is crazy. Then I have another kid that didn't make it. So as a teacher, you have to be like, oh honey, I feel bad. And then, yay, I feel great. So we're there, and the guy comes out with a boom box.
Wow.
I don't remember this.
Comes out with a boom box and a cassette tape and said, she needs to learn these songs for tomorrow or later.
Yes.
Yes. I had to carry the damn boom box.
Gosh, I don't remember that.
Do you remember that or no?
Oh my gosh, I do now, but like that wasn't part of the story that I thought I remembered so well. My gosh, yes. And it was like the parts. It was a cassette. Oh my gosh.
Yes. So he comes out with this thing. So now they're going to the show. I don't have a date. I'm out of a show tonight. And I have a boom box, and I have to take this kid somewhere in New York and make sure she knows these 2 songs.
Oh my gosh, that's right. And did we go back to the hotel? That I don't remember. I'm like, did we
I
rent it?
don't know.
I'm like, we either
And
rented
my
a
story-
studio at Ripley Greer or we.
No, maybe
No, I think we just
did.
went to the hotel.
I don't know. My story ends there.
Yeah.
Because, and then I think back, Michael, I think back to my success with iTunes. And I think about 2 kids doing a song
Okay.
and doing a video.
Okay.
They both went to number 1 on iTunes. And in the United States, the UK, and Australia. And I've never seen a penny. And then I hear you, and you tell the story. Why didn't I do the song for you? Why didn't I?
Abby,
you know,
why?
I think back and I think,
Well, it's
why
not
am I not
too
investing
late.
in a kid that's a singer and not a kid that was not a good dancer who?
Because I wouldn't people want to listen to like an old Broadway mom now and just like
Oh my
We can go
God.
to iTunes.
Well, Dance Moms. Maybe the new show
Yes.
should be called Broadway Moms.
Broadway moms. I have
Let's
a lot
trademark
of
it.
them.
We're
Trademark
trademarking it.
TM.
Yes.
Yes.
And
But our struggles in New
also-
York with strollers.
Yeah, that could be a whole thing.
Oh my God, the-
Struggles with strollers.
It's being written. It's being written right now.
Passing
Yes.
off babies. I literally had a friend that was running late to their half-hour call, and I was at the time I was living on 45th Street. They stopped in front of my building. They passed their baby off, and they kept going to their show. And I was just like, and we take baby, we put baby in bedroom, we go to my call, my husband. Like it was just like a passing. It's just we
have to do what you have to
make it
do.
work. You make it work. This
All right,
crazy
back to the
business.
story.
Yes.
Back to the story.
Back to the story. So I get the boombox. You learn the song.
I learned the song. And
You
I
go
remember
back?
I got a slip of paper for a callback because I didn't have an agent. So like there was, and I didn't have a service.
I was.
I mean,
was
I had
outside.
Abby. So I had like I had a slip of paper and it was like,
They
Dear
knew who I was,
Kirsten.
though.
Oh, yeah.
They knew who I was. Maybe from Mark Myers. I don't know who
Someone,
But they called the studio for people all the
Yes.
time. Not for this, but they would call if they needed somebody that was like crazy dancer. Okay,
Yeah.
so go ahead.
So I just remember I got the slip of paper and it was like American Idol that you got this like special slip and I was like it just had all the information for like where the callback was and like what I had to learn and had my name on it and then I went back for a callback and that it ended up that like at that point they're like you're not quite like I don't know if I was too young. I forget the wording they used. They're like we really really like you but like it's right now it's not the right time. So I like went back to Pittsburgh and then I get a call my senior year of high school and they're like, we want you to come in for another callback. I was like, what? I just, I'd written it off. I was like, okay,
Random,
fine.
right.
And I went in and again, it wasn't the right time. And then I happened to get into Carnegie Mellon and I went and I started my freshman year at Carnegie Mellon. And then the summer of my freshman year, I got another call and they're like, hey, we're casting a tour again. We want to see you again. Because like I was in their files. And then that time I actually booked it. And I was like,
Wow.
She got the role of Amber.
I got the role. And I was like,
of
what
Amber
do I do?
in a national tour of Hairspray.
And I hemmed and hawed and I didn't know what to do. And I'd
No,
already,
I think your dad stepped in too.
I mean, I think my parents stepped in a little bit too. I had already spent a year at Carnegie Mellon where it's an amazing program. I was there for musical theater and they spend the first couple of years like stripping you down and they're like, take everything you know and throw it out the window and you have talent, but like talent isn't enough. You have to build on the fundamentals of acting and figure out all these things and learn technique. And so I had spent a year doing that and I was like, I want to keep going on this path, I think. And I didn't know with longevity of careers, I didn't know if I decided to take the job, if it would be like I took the one national tour and that's it, and then I did my one Broadway show and then I couldn't work again.
Oh,
so I
no.
had like all these.
No,
so I
sweetheart.
decided to stay at school because I was like I need to learn how to be an actor because I was like when I can't pony anymore because my knees are broken when when I get too old and my vibrato is like large enough to drive a truck through, I need to like I want to be an actor. Like I want to be able to tell stories still. So I stayed in school and I there were days that I was like, it was the right decision. And there were days that I was like, what am I doing? I should have taken that. Yes, I could be getting paid.
And no one would tell me what to do.
Oh my gosh,
Right.
there was one teacher at Carnegie Mellon that just did, I could do nothing right in his eyes and he hated me with a passion. And there were days that I was
And
like,
you're paying that person.
oh yeah,
Don't
I'm
you
paying
love
the
that
money.
part? Yes.
I'm like, I'm paying you money to say that I'm awful cool. So I digress.
Bernie
But
tells he didn't tell me I was awful. They told me they wanted me.
I was like, I could have been, yeah. So I had
Yeah.
I had like that whole like up and down. And then the universe in the crazy way it does, I graduate from college and Telsey, I do a showcase in New York, I do a showcase in LA, I get an agent, casting directors come and see me and I get a call from Telsey and they're like, hey, we want to see you for Hairspray on Broadway. And I was like, hey, I've been here before. Great. I know
We've done this.
We've done this dance before. I think I know the steps still.
Yes.
And I was lucky enough that they did not hate me for turning down the show because you never know. And B, I was lucky that I was still age appropriate. And I got the same exact role, and I went into the Broadway show like a few months after I graduated college. So the universe, in a wonderful way, kind of said, "Here you are."
Doesn't get much better than that.
I wanted her to
honestly-
take the show.
I mean, honestly,
Defer the school. Take the show.
You
do
can always go back
it,
to school.
Do it and go back. Only because here's why.
Yeah, tell me.
Because I think sometimes kids, you're still a kid to me.
I am a kid.
Kids don't understand what that life is like.
the getting a show.
And you're a
Yes.
tour.
Oh, a tour. A tour is yes.
Yes. And being on the bus or the plane and doing that and night after night after night, and the people that you're with, and maybe you don't like them, maybe they're not your type of people,
Yeah.
whatever. And so I thought, you know what? She's going to school for this subject.
Yeah.
And she's already got a job offer for what she's going to school for. So take it and just see, maybe this life isn't for you.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to teach in a university. Maybe you want to teach in a public high school for theater. You know, maybe you're going to go, whoa, I think I'm going to be an engineer because
Yeah.
I did not like that life.
Because it is.
It's a different life than what you were used to. You came from a nice background. You had a mom and dad that were together. You had a family.
Yeah.
And that life on the road is different.
It's a whole other
Right.
bag of tricks. Yeah.
So that's why I thought, boom. And then, when you're doing this, you come to New York and you get the door slammed in your face, maybe, maybe not,
Yeah.
for years. So now kids are coming from high school, it's happening to them. You're coming out of college, now it has to happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, boom. But Carnegie Mellon University is a very prestigious university in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Some of the alumni are...
Billy Porter, Ted Danson, Renee Elise Goldsberry. Oh my gosh, Megan Hilty. I'm like Aaron Stanton. Go ahead.
But a lot
Yeah.
of people also went there and never graduated. They went there freshman year or sophomore or junior, and
Yeah.
they got a gig over the summer and never went back.
Yeah.
I think William Hurt. No.
I feel like
Holly Hunter.
yes, Holly Hunter. A
They
lot
told
of people.
her she had a horrible voice and she'd never make it as an actress.
because she could never lose that
Yes.
her the dialect that she has. Yeah, it's so interesting.
So many people went there. It's very prestigious.
Yeah.
And
Oh, Jonathan Groff was supposed to be in my class, but then he deferred because he got the national tour of Millie. Yeah, I know. So there's lots. There's
Yes,
there's
it's
a
too-
lot.
but I think your mom and
Josh
dad-
Groban went there.
yes,
and he
and
left.
He left.
Yeah,
too?
he left, yeah.
A lot of very famous people went and left.
Yeah,
Uh,
Sutton Foster went and left.
Oh, she went there.
Yeah, she went. I think she went there for maybe a year or two. and
Her and her brother Hunter Foster went to Suzette's.
then- a different dance studio.
They're
They're
from
both Pittsburghs.
No, they're not.
They're not Pittsburghers.
No.
Why do I think
They're
they're Pittsburghers?
from Michigan.
Oh, maybe because I got the Carnegie Mellon thing mixed
Yeah,
in
no,
with that.
they're
Yeah.
from Michigan. Suzette's they went to.
Oh, amazing. Okay.
They weren't competition kids either.
They weren't?
They just showed up for the advanced dance classes, but they didn't sign the contract and do all the
And do
crap.
other competitions. Yeah, but they both are extremely
Yeah,
talented.
extremely talented.
You know, honestly, and a lot of people say no regrets, never look backwards. But
Yeah,
I do wonder what would have happened. But I also
Well, I can tell you what would have happened. You would have ended up in New York City after the tour. You would have had roommates already, and you would have gotten Spring Awakenings.
I would have gotten Spring Awakening, and then
From then on, it
From
would
then
have just
on,
been-
yeah.
yeah.
But it's so interesting.
'Cause
I don't know if I would
sit there and see shows, and I'm like, why is she not in this? Where is she right now? She's eating pizza or a hot dog. somewhere in Pittsburgh. Why is she not here? No, that was just that show because it was like kind of
'Cause it was-
right after that.
yes.
After you would have
It
gone,
would have been
come back.
right, yeah. And I would have been the right exact age because they actually wanted to cast the kids that were like 16, 17, and 18. They were so young.
Right.
Yeah, because a lot of them are my peers now. Like a lot of the original Spring Awakening people I do shows with. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, of course.
Who did that? Spring?
That was Leah Michelle and Jonathan Groff. And
No, who?
who-
produced? I don't know who did that show.
Have you worked with Leah Michelle?
I have not,
Okay.
no.
I'm
No,
just
I have
curious
not.
because I've heard T, and I don't really hear many positive things about
Oh,
Leah Michelle.
you know
and
what?
I would love her to prove us wrong. If you'd
I-
like to come on,
She's-
leave it on the dance
she's-
floor.
Well, she just worked with John Michael. And
Yes, when we
Yes.
have John Michael on, maybe he'll spill some tea on that. I'm
All my
sure
friends-
she's great.
I have
Like
to
a
say, all my
goody-goody.
friends at Funny Girl have said
She's
wonderful things.
Yes, I'm sure
And
she's trying to debunk
I think
those
she was
rumors.
yeah. I
Yes.
think she knew that she was walking into something and had to and
Yeah, I
had
mean,
to be above and beyond. And also, this is like her dream role. So like,
Yeah,
why
she
wouldn't
fought-
she?
she fought
Why
for
wouldn't she
this.
be anything but just like grateful and like and thankful to be in
And the
this.
tickets went up quadruple. What
Yeah.
they,
oh
what they were
yeah, I
before.
mean,
I mean, I heard she
rightfully
was
so.
fantastic.
Yeah, and it
I
seems,
wish I got to see it.
Yeah, it seems like she's been really good with that.
Yeah.
But let's talk about some of your other experiences.
Oh yeah.
Wait. So
Oh,
she
yeah.
graduates
Sorry.
from college.
Oh yeah. Go.
She gets the job. The show closes.
The show closes. I
Oh,
know.
no. How
I know.
long?
I was in it for a year.
Okay.
And, yeah, I did a year. I did a year because
mean-
I went
You
in.
did a year as Amber on Broadway and I
it's
didn't
a-
see it again?
It's. I only took over as Amber. I went in as Luann, which
Oh,
is
okay,
the Amber
okay.
cover, and then I took over as Amber during the like end of my
Run.
run, if you will. And I got a show. Oh gosh, this is another thing. Like I got a show called Minsky's. There was this new show that was happening in LA, the Amundsen. Casey Nicolau was directing and choreographing, and Charles Strauss wrote the music with Susan Birkenhead, and it was Bob Martin wrote the book, and it was based on this like burlesque movie called The Night They Read Minsky's. It was going to be really fun. I was like the youngest one in the cast.
Follies.
Yeah,
Minsky's
it was
like- it was based on that,
It was
right.
based on that. So I was so excited to do it, and so I put my notice in, and that week they said that they were closing, but I couldn't retract my notice. So like I could have done double duty, like rehearsed during the day and then done the show at night. Actually, because some people that were in the cast were also in Minsky's and did that. So I was so sad because I left the show with like a month left.
Your agent should have.
I know. I was
stinks.
so sad.
He
I was
should
like,
not
I
have
was
had
like,
you put that
I was
in.
like,
He should have
"Mia,
waited
Mia."
to see.
Yeah, because I remember I was like, no.
It's fine. That doesn't count.
It doesn't count. Doesn't
no,
count.
No.
But I was going to say this. So going back to the
But you get
nowadays,
two Broadway paychecks. at
if-
the same time.
I know,
She
two
said
Broadway
she
che-
would have
which-
had-
which-
during the day she was working for that, and during the night.
I would have been a bag of bones. Like I would have been exhausted and a bag of bones at the
I
end of the
bet.
night. But it would have been
Hey, I had a friend from Pittsburgh that did
the double.
both. No, she did the blue and the gold cast of Radio City.
Are you serious?
Rockettes, yes.
Oh my gosh, she must have been a workhorse. I mean,
Well, they couldn't find anybody that was 6 feet, 5'11" and a half to be the center Rockette, so they asked her if she wanted to do both casts.
and she said yes.
She did it.
Did she?
For you.
I hope she
Came home and
negotiated.
bought a house.
Yeah, there you go.
There,
I
yeah.
hope she did that, and I hope she negotiated like full massages, like
Uh-huh.
twice.
I don't think she did that. Then she walked home and walked up another,
Yeah.
flights of steps.
I was gonna say. So my husband and I both teach now, on top of like acting and doing shows and stuff. And I have to say, if I was in the same situation that I was in back then, I don't know if I would have made the same decision. Nowadays, there are so many programs out there. They're amazing programs, but there's so many programs out there that kids are going to that might not have, the training ground that like a Carnegie Mellon or like University of Michigan will.
Yes,
And
yes.
I don't know if going to a program for 4 years and spending that much money and leaving it with that much debt would be worth not taking the show, So it's a case by case basis, but a lot of kids now, I'm like, you know what? If you want to try it, do it.
Not too long ago, I was in the hospital fighting for my life, fighting a very rare form of cancer, Burkitt lymphoma, choking my spinal cord, knocking at death's door, and having to go through 10 very invasive rounds of chemotherapy. I never thought I'd be able to stand on my own 2 feet again, let alone teach dance. It wasn't until Dancers Against Cancer visited me during my recovery to help in my time of need that I realized their incredible mission. They have created an alliance in the dance community that provides financial support and inspiration to dance educators, choreographers, studio owners, dancers, and their families who have been impacted by cancer. The I'm a Dancer Against Cancer campaign was founded in 2012 in response to the loss of a young dancer from cancer. Since then, it has become a beacon of hope in the dance community, uniting dancers all over the nation. Join the fight against cancer and help make a difference with the dance community. For more information on how to get involved and make a one-time or even monthly donation, please visit I'mADancerAgainstCancer.org/donate. Again, please get involved and make a difference within the dance community. Visit I'mADancerAgainstCancer.org/donate. Well, I'm glad to hear you say that.
Yeah.
Now, there's for parents and kids that are watching, listening, there's different situations, and I used to get a lot of flack. Well, your kids don't go to college and they need a degree in dance and da-da-da. I'm like, no, you don't need a degree in dance unless you want to teach in a university or at a performing arts high school in a public school district, something like that. That's fine. However, I'm trying to think of where I was going with this. However,
Not going
kids-
to college versus,
yeah, no. I was going somewhere with this. It was about I get flack about not sending, but there's a difference between a child from an affluent family or a upper middle class family who is getting into Carnegie Mellon University and mom and dad are going to pay. Okay, that's one issue. Or let's take that same dance studio. Let's take another kid whose mom and dad have nothing, and the kid's grades aren't great. She barely gets into a state school, and she's going to live at home and drive back and forth. Now, that's two completely different things. So this kid and is going to be in debt and borrow all this money to go to school. They should try the dance thing. They should have taken the tour. They should do this.
Yeah.
A kid whose mom and dad are going to pay or whatever, and they got into this prestigious school, do it. Go for it. So I think everybody has their own situation that they hit at, Mark, for example.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to college. He was moving to New York City and every day freaked out and called me on the phone and told me what kind of ham sandwich he had that day and was just nuts.
Yeah.
Until I tapped Linda Haberman on the shoulder sitting at a dance competition at the Marriott Marquis, and I'll have to save that story for another time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he got Radio City, and then he got Footloose, and then it just happens. But he didn't want to go to school. He wanted to get out of high school as fast as he could.
Yeah.
So there's different strokes for different folks.
Absolutely.
And everybody has their own
Absolutely.
path. But
Yeah.
like you said, now there are so many programs, and I think COVID taught the world something with kids going to school at home, because that was taboo. Oh, when Dance Mom started, none of those people would let their kids, because my business would have flourished had those kids came and, we did all the shooting before 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then after 4, it was regular dancing school.
Yeah.
That would have been great. But nobody was going to homeschool. Oh, no. And when Maddie was almost going to flunk and have to repeat 4th grade or 5th grade because of the Sia video, it was like all of a sudden, oh, we're homeschooling. Oh, yeah, this is good. This is great. Yeah, this is great.
That's so
Come on.
crazy.
Kirsten,
Yeah.
when they were filming Dance Moms, had you ever gone back to the studio to see all of that chaos?
No,
Never
I wish
once?
No, because it started probably when I was in college, and then I moved to New York, and I
Yeah.
have to say, I was very, no, I'm knocking on wood. It already happened. It's in the past. But I was really, really lucky, and I kind of hopped from show to show to show, and I didn't
Love
really
that.
go home very much.
You were too busy. You had better stuff to do.
No, I just,
All right, so
I
we're
got
gonna
really
we're gonna
lucky.
get into
Yes,
the
of
rest of
course.
the career, but
Yeah.
but before that, so you're in New York,
Yeah.
you're working, you're doing a show, and there's this TV show on, and it's your dance teacher where you went.
Yeah.
What was the first reaction?
Everyone, I was like, oh. I mean, okay, I have to say, at that time, I was like, reality TV was still kind of like
New.
a new thing. And I had been approached to do the Grease reality show, and I had been approached to do the Legally Blonde reality show. And dummy Kirsten was like, I don't think, I don't know if reality TV is going to stick. So I literally was like, no, I don't want to audition for those shows. Like, I think that's like, I
had
didn't.
somebody do this. Maybe Allie Meixner? Maybe
Yeah,
she did one of them.
Yeah, and I probably totally should have done them because I have friends who did them, and like
They weren't scandalous.
No, they
Those
weren't scandalous
shows,
at
they were
all.
fun. Yeah.
But I had this idea. I was like, I'm an actor, and I'm gonna do shakes. Like I who knows? But like
Serious, you're
I was
serious.
I was serious an actor. Now I'm like, why didn't you do it? But I was like doing shows at the time, so like it wasn't that I not that I didn't need the work, but like I was busy
Right.
with doing something else. So I was
Right,
like,
and
no, it's
wasn't
okay.
like I've been sitting here for 3 months
Yes,
not working.
exactly.
I'll take it. Yeah, let's. do
Yeah,
it.
I was like, oh, I'm doing this show. It's fine. Like thinking that something else would come
Yeah.
up.
So
but I remember,
reality
so the
TV.
reality TV. So the show came on. I watched a couple episodes, and I was like, oh, that's the woman I know, but like they're painting her to be a little bit more harsh than I remember. Like I remember I was like, you demanded respect. You did not, you were not gonna. I was not gonna talk back to you. But I was like, oh. but they're really painting her in a way that she seems like she could be a lot scarier than I remember.
I'm like, she was scary, but not that scary.
Not that scary. And then I remember people started to come up to me and they're like, wait, isn't that the dancer that you used to go to? Like, is she really awful? And I was like, actually, no. But like, it makes really good TV. And people were like, I'm obsessed with the show. And I was like, I know, it's kind of amazing. And I have to say, I didn't watch much past the first season because life, life happens.
Yes.
And but I never got the chance to go back and see the
Wow.
chaos. I would have loved to. It just
I
wasn't.
would have loved to have her on and meet the kids. They wouldn't let me do anything. Those first 2 years were no.
Yeah.
And I know one of the kids, one of my guy dancers, they were talking about it.
Yeah.
At an audition, he overheard people talking about it. And they're like, wait, hey, aren't you from Pittsburgh? And yeah. And it's like, but do you know that lady? And he's like, no, I slept with her. What are you talking about?
Oh my God.
In the bed,
No, or I've
when
been in her
we're-
Escalade.
No,
Like-
when you have to go to these dance conventions, there's 10 people in the room, and we're all like sideways in the beds, and it was like the talk. It was a big deal at the time with the dance community here.
Yeah, yeah.
And all the kids, and
It was
young
a
dancers.
huge thing. It was a huge
yes.
thing, and it was really special to feel like I was like, I was like a tiny part of that, like this explosion of the Abby Lee thing.
It was crazy.
It's pretty crazy. How crazy is it that you don't have the studio anymore? Yeah,
It's sad.
it's sad.
I never ever thought that building that I built from the ground up would be anything but a dance studio.
Yeah.
I tried to give it to the Ice family. Jessica Ice was
Yeah.
here for a while in New
Yeah.
York, and I tried to give it to Gianna. She's just not ready to go back to Pittsburgh yet. That kills me. My godchild was the plan.
Yeah.
Sandy Powers' granddaughter.
Yeah.
That was the plan, and she was going to come to AMDA, and it was COVID. I mean, that's the year she graduated. It's March, April, May.
Yeah.
She graduated, was coming to AMDA to do 2 years here and then 2 years in LA. And I mean, whether she ended up a professional dancer or not, I don't really know. She loves it. She loves theater. She's a beautiful girl,
Yeah.
gorgeous legs and feet. But I just wanted her to live in New York for 2 years.
Yeah.
I thought that just to say you lived in New York for
Yes, of
during your
course.
young life.
Yeah.
And they wanted her to come to AMDA, do the classes in her dorm room on Zoom, but pay the tuition.
What?
And her dad was like, she has keys to a beautiful dance studio that she can go in and do it on Zoom from there.
Yeah.
Why
Why?
can't she just live at home and do it? The whole point of going to AMDA is to live in New York City and go see the shows and stand in
Yes.
line at TKTS and be submerged in this life and go to the museums and this
Yeah.
that. And that's not going to happen. So then just a year went by and she ended up going to school they took so many, 12 kids or something, into anesthetist with
Esthetician.
oh, sorry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Different thing. Wait, stop.
No,
That's
no,
a
no,
big
no.
different paycheck.
No,
Wait.
esthetician.
An
and-
est-
An esthetician
Mm-hmm.
and do facials, and then she did eyelashes, and now I think she's giving Botox. Yeah, so
Oh, wow.
that's what she went into. She loves it. She opened her own business.
Great.
But I wanted her to open it in my studio. I'm like, take my office, make it a thing. Take Studio C, let's make it a thing, and you have all those mothers right there.
Yeah.
You don't need to be a dance teacher like I was and own a studio. People own a lot dance studios now that are business people, and they just hire the staff. They're not even dance teachers. You could do this, but she wanted.
Oh my gosh! And she could do a one-stop shop where the moms could get Botox while they waited for their kids
I said
to
that.
dance.
I said the
oh
whole
my
thing.
gosh, she would make out like hotcakes.
But you know what's crazy is
Only.
that Abby is just all over the world now.
I know you're too busy.
was-
The ALDC is a worldwide franchise now.
And the chair is very difficult in Pittsburgh
Yeah.
with the hills,
Yeah.
the lack of sidewalks, the steps. I mean, it's just hard.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
When I went back and shot season 8, I lived at the nursing home that my mother died in. That was weird. I lived there because I could wheel over to the studio to shoot.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And this was right after she had recovered from cancer and everything. So having the nurses there is just
It was easy.
It was easier.
Yeah, it was easier.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
All right, so take the kids through
Yeah.
your career. So we started.
So we started Hairspray. That was my Broadway debut. It was amazing. I went and did a show out in LA called Minsky's. Unfortunately, that's when 2008 happened, which the market crashed. And
Oh, I
so
know.
they
I know
pulled the
all about
plug
it.
on that, moving to Broadway. I thought that was going to be like my first Broadway debut. And then I popped around doing like a bunch of regional shows. And then I did a I feel like my big thing was I did the 2011 revival of Stephen Sondheim's Follies, and I got to play young Jan Maxwell.
And I didn't
opposite
see that show. It
Bernadette
kills me.
Peters.
And I've never seen Follies.
Oh my gosh. It was, so we did it at the Kennedy Center, and we thought it was just going to be a Kennedy Center thing. And we got to work with, Stephen Sondheim was in the room with us, and he rewrote some of the book was rewritten for this revival. And I worked with Bernadette Peters and Danny Burstein and Ron Rains and Jan Maxwell and Jane Houdyshell. It's just and Mary Beth Peel. These amazing titans of theater were in this room, and it's a show about the ghosts of the past. And I got to be one of the young ghosts and one young Phyllis, and that was kind of my big thing. And then we moved to Broadway. I got to record my first ever Broadway cast album with
How quick
Stephen Sondheim in the
is that
room.
like one day?
It was, you know what, because of the size of the cast, it was about a 40-person cast.
Okay.
And it was a full orchestra, so it was also that huge orchestra. And because it was the magnitude of the show, it was Sondheim, it was orchestrations by Jonathan Tunick, it was, so we had, I think, 2 or 3 days in the studio. But usually it's a one-stop.
That's
usually,
what I thought, yeah.
Yeah. When I recorded then, so right after Follies, I did a new musical called Big Fish. Unfortunately, it didn't last very long, but it was Susan Stroman. Oh my gosh, I got to work with Susan Stroman. I played opposite Norbert Leo Butz.
I got a show story, but
Yeah,
go ahead,
no.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say
go
that was like a one day thing. That was quick. But for Follies, I think too, because they had such heavy hitters. Like I remember Bernadette had a couple days in the studio, and they want to really make
just
sure.
for everyone to know now. So she's not in the chorus with the dancers, right? So she started in Hairspray, and she was a cover for the lead, and then she became the lead on, right? And then so each show after that, she is now a part. You look in her you look in your playbill, and it says
Kirsten Scott, Jenny Hill, or Kirsten Scott, Young Phyllis. Yeah,
right. It says the name and who she is, rather than ensemble, and there's all the dancers under there. Just letting you know.
Did you have Abbey Lee Dance Company in your
You know what?
playbill?
I didn't because I didn't. At the beginning, I did because
Okay.
I said thank you because the Hairspray was.
Yeah.
I was like, you were
And
direct.
then I
Go
also
ahead.
got a letter from you.
Well, oh yeah, because
I got a note from you when you got
Hairspray.
Hairspray, telling me the lovely, I'm sure I still have it, lovely letter, handwritten, that she, that I took her, and then that was her Broadway debut. It was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That ends up being the
It's
show that
just-
she
Yeah.
gets.
It was.
And they said to you,
anyway,
how
yeah.
was school?
They
You told
did.
me that in
They
the letter.
did.
And she walked back into the audition 4 years later, and they looked at you and said, so, how was school?
And I was like, good. I think I learned something.
So keep going. You did Follies.
Yeah.
I did
Then you
Follies, I did Big Fish, and then I went to company of Jersey Boys, and then most recently I opened the company as Sherry of the 10th anniversary Rock of Ages, which Abby came and saw me do, which was so much fun, and that's the last show I did when it got shut down for COVID, and that was so sad because we were about to have been open for about a year, and it was just. That show was so much fun. It was so athletic, and I feel like it was the first show that I was dancing. I was
Dancing
dancing
full
my
out.
face off, full out. I was singing full out, and it's Sherry's actually a very tricky acting role because she goes through a lot of transitions, but it's also written in this very a crazy comedic style. The book writer is brilliant in his comedy, but it's very specific, and so it was really fun. But then, yeah,
But that's the big lead. Sherry's the star of it. This is the big lead. And you see this sitting before you today, and she's in black leather and trashy and this and that. But then she isn't, because I know it's her. And
she's a
it's
stripper with a heart of gold.
That's right.
She may
There you
wear.
go.
She may wear those
And she
stripper
can
boots,
belt.
and she can belt,
And she can belt,
and she
yes.
can work a pole. But that's so. And then COVID hit, and because we were off for so long, I ended up having 2 babies.
married,
that.
Married, and had 2 babies.
Let me say, but you
Yeah.
didn't get married and then have 2 babies. You got married in.
No, I got married. We got married young. I got married back in 2009. So I've been married
Right
a very
after
long time.
college.
Right
Well,
after
yeah.
college. Yeah,
Yeah,
right after college.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you became a Broadway mom.
And then I
Yes.
became a Broadway mommy.
And she
Yeah.
is married to another actor.
Yes, his name's Matthew Scott, and he's also been in 4 Broadway shows. And actually, I forgot we did a national tour. We did a Broadway national tour together. We did An American in Paris. So I started as Milo in that, and I toured the country with that.
dance show.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a big dance show. Yeah, Milo doesn't dance so much. She does a little partnering with the Jerry, but that's about it. Yeah.
So
No point shoes
There
for
you
me.
have it. This is a kid from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, who came to the ALDC, who didn't compete and run around, whose mom and dad I rarely ever saw, and she made it on Broadway. And kids always ask me, where? And I go, there's only one Broadway.
There's one.
There's one Broadway. There's a West End that tries to be Broadway. Sorry, folks, it's not. And there's one
Yeah.
Broadway, and she's here.
I'm
And
very
she's
lucky.
living the life.
Yeah, and I got to. I've dabbled in some TV shows, so like I get. I did an
Tell.
episode of The Good Fight. Opposite. I played. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I
what-
saw that.
Oh
I
my
saw
gosh.
that.
Speaking of Sherry.
Yes.
I played an alter. I played. My gosh, Christine Baranski's alter ego in that, which was very fun.
The leads. Alter
yes,
ego.
her alter ego. I
You know,
did.
Kristen Baranski.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. I did some The Good Fight. I did Elementary. I did Quantico. I did.
I did background on Elementary.
Oh, really?
Yes.
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 I like that set, right? That
It was
a nice
it was
set.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My God, it feels like forever ago.
Right? Well, that was.
weird.
I mean, they wrapped years ago
I
now.
think I was 13.
Oh, who? Okay.
No.
And moving
No.
on.
No, I mean, well, I was 16. Yeah.
What was it like doing background?
I loved
I
doing
always was so
background
curious
work.
about-
I honestly, I know this isn't about me, but I would love to do background again. It's just so hard with time. I work a full-time job. Obviously, I work with Abby. We do the podcast. There's just a lot of stuff going on in
Yeah.
my life, and I feel like I'm just so grateful I got to do that when I was younger, that my parents took off of work, that they drove me to
Yes.
New York, that they drove me to New Jersey, they drove me to Connecticut. They just really got me into that. It was fun. It was a lot of waiting around. So if you guys want to do background, just have patience.
Yeah.
It's good money though. It's
was gonna
good,
say,
and you
it's
don't
good
do
money.
and you don't do that much. I recommend. Listen, you got to look where that camera is, and
Find
the
the red
directors.
lights.
The director
Find the
isn't
red
always
light.
going to tell you to go somewhere near the camera, so you do that yourself. Wait for them to tell you to not go near the camera.
Could you
right.
not
Yeah.
cross through the scene that's
Yes.
happening if
Yes.
you don't mind? Because there is an actor.
Little
Yeah.
boy over there.
But-
Don't move.
Yeah.
Stay right where you are.
Yeah, but it was really fun. I recommend kids should do it. Even if you don't get like the lead, who cares?
Who cares?
Just go. You get to. It's a great experience.
I will
seeing
say
the
because the first time I was ever on a set, or the second time I was ever on a set, I did like an independent film. But then the second time I was ever on a set was I did Quantico, and I was on set like opposite Priyanka Chopra.
Yes, Priyanka Chopra. Yeah,
Chopra, thank you.
Now Priyanka
I was-
Chopra Jonas.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
I was opposite Priyanka Chopra, and it was so much because there's so many
Yes.
things that are being thrown at you, and that I'd never heard the lingo before.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I had been on a set before, I would have been a little bit more confident with like, what's going on? Okay, cool. So being on a set as background
Okay,
is really
so
smart.
This is amazing, though.
Yeah.
I always tell the world when they ask me about the kids on the show and blah, blah, blah. There you go.
Yeah.
Those kids learned about cameras, about angles, about sound. They learned about editing.
Yes.
They learned so much on doing Dance Moms, doing that TV show. Even if they didn't end up being a professional dancer, they could go into sound or
Yes.
into film or into editing. And I mean, Lord knows we need some dancers here on Broadway that are retired to be editors because
Yes.
nobody could edit the dancing together. That was a huge problem for me because I hated every single number, and then they would change our music and post, and it was just,
Yeah.
it was a nightmare. So
Yeah.
now you have two little boys.
Now I have
Tell
two
us
little
quickly.
boys, Sebastian and Desmond, or Desi and Bash. And yeah, I have two little boys, and I just did my first show back from having kids. I did a summer stock show. I did a production of Beautiful out in Sacramento,
Oh,
California.
love.
You were not the lead.
I played Cynthia Weil. I didn't play Carol King.
I know, but
I'm
yes.
a Cynthia Weil.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm her snarky best friend.
I love that show.
It was so much fun, and it was directed by an incredible woman named Linda Goodrich, and I feel so grateful. It was my first show back, and it felt really good because I was like, do I remember how to do this? It's been because between COVID and having two kids, I was like, it's been like 2 years. So yeah, it was really nice, and now I'm back to auditioning, and now we'll see what's next. But
Yes.
SAG's on strike, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well,
Kirsten-
reality TV is happening.
I know
Yes.
I'm
exactly.
shooting season 9. The competition begins.
Wow.
My own thing called season 9. That's the name of the show. And funny. I don't know if you know, but it ended at season 8. Okay, my
Yeah.
contract
No,
was
no,
4 years, 4-year option. I finally got out. And yes, and I just did a little show called Madhouse.
Yeah.
Which is 18 to 23, 24-year-olds that want to be professional working dancers, and they're not getting booked. They're not getting the callbacks. They're not getting whatever. No moms allowed. So they had to be
Amazing.
combative with me themselves.
Yeah.
In the house. We lived together in a house. Madhouse. Music, acting, dance.
Oh my gosh,
Cute?
that's amazing.
Yeah.
When
but
does it?
they just
What does it air?
looked at me and went,
September 29th. Yeah.
I was my concept.
I love
You
that.
know,
I
yeah,
love
so.
that. Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
Kirsten, where can all of our listeners follow you?
Yes, and and they can take voice lessons.
Yes.
So if anyone, you heard her, as we leave.
Yeah.
I just need the respect. I just need the chorus once.
Oh my god.
Stand up if you need to. Okay. And so if you need to take voice lessons, boys, girls,
Yes, please.
Kirsten teaches voice lessons. So does her husband.
Yes.
The theater, acting, whatever you need. And it could be,
College prep, we do it all. Yeah.
to go into college, to put your best foot forward, to walk in and nail the entrance auditions, and just to get in.
So where can they follow you? Where can they contact you?
Find me on Instagram. I'm at KB Scotty, KBSCOTTY. Find me on Instagram, and that's
Where's your Twitter, your Facebook, your
We'll link it all in the show
we
notes.
link it all. We'll link it all.
You're
We'll
not
link it
filming
all.
those
Yes.
kids 24 hours a day.
Oh my gosh.
Putting it on YouTube.
I'm
Come
not
on.
putting it on-
Kirsten, get on the ball.
Get on it
Get
now.
those kids working.
I know. Actually, we're like, do we start to get those kids working now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You do.
Yeah, we might get them
Because
soon.
you can.
I can
save
get
their
them.
money for
Yeah, I
them.
can get them
And it could be
college
for
funds. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you walk in
And
with
they're
them,
real
and maybe you
patooties.
book the job too.
Yeah. Actually, I did audition for a movie with one of them, and I did not get it, but
Interesting.
we were close. So
Wow.
yeah.
You never know when
You
that
never know.
opportunity
Never
is
know.
going to knock. As we leave it on the dance floor. Kirsten Scott is going to sing us out, because you said I demanded respect.
Oh, you did
Right?
demand respect.
So that's the line. Get us out of here. You ready?
All right, because all I'm asking is for a little respect when you get home, baby. When you get home. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Find out what it means to happy. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Take care, TCB.
Yes.
Woo, woo, woo. Thank you, sweetheart, so much.
so
I
good
love
to
you,
see
and
you
I'm so
guys.
very proud of you.
Thank you so much.
So proud.
Thanks.
My world is with my girls.
ALDC Elites, thank you so very much for listening. Be sure to subscribe and give Leave It on the Dance Floor a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to watch each week and see exclusive behind-the-scenes content like my never seen before pictures and videos from the competitions, some even taken from the wings, classes at the ALDC studio in Pittsburgh, or even our iconic dance concerts, head over to Patreon or become a member on YouTube Premium, linked in the show notes each week. See you on the flip side.